Welcome to A Moment of Zen. Time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Zen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, fintech, cannabis, and entertainment from the Millennial Mom's perspective. Here's your host, Zen Sams.
Hello, my awesome tri-state area. Welcome to our 104th episode. 2 years on the air and going strong. It's always such a pleasure to spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you for listening and interacting with me on social media. That truly does make it all worthwhile. Please make sure to follow me at Zen Sams. That's Zen with an X, not a Z. And also remember that we're now live on Traverse TV, Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, FinTech TV, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. And of course, all episodes of A Moment of Zen are now streaming 24/7 on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV. That's free programming to you. And of course, you can always find us on our YouTube channel. We have such a great show lined up for you today. Very exciting stuff. In our Millennial Mom segment brought to you by OGPay.com, we're chatting about why your blood work says you're normal, but you still feel like something is wrong. Today, we're featuring Jenny Branco, an integrative health practitioner and founder of Jenny Branco Wellness. She's a hormone specialist who helps women rebalance their hormones and gut health naturally. We're going to discuss how functional medicine seeks to get to the root cause of health issues and dive into the world of unconventional and advanced lab testing that Jenny uses to identify dysfunction in the body and optimize health. In our influencer segment brought to you by Navé Travel, of course, we are joined by Nigerian model and my dear friend, John Mgbemena. He's also an actor and a musician, most recently appearing on FBOY Island, a dating show that debuted on HBO Max in 2021, and it was one big hit. Today, he's here to chat modeling, love, and what it was like being part of the very steamy, and I mean very steamy, FBOY Island reality TV show cast. In our Travel Treasures segment brought to you by Navé Travel, it's a double header for them today. We're featuring Jason Fong, also known as the Boss of Bali. Now, the Boss of Bali has over 2 million followers on Instagram, connecting celebrities with luxury hotels in Bali. Today, we're chatting, that's right, all about Bali and his ultimate Bali travel guide for first-timers. In our Healthy Minutes segment brought to you by Caldwell Soames, we're featuring my really good friend, Daryl Reed, long overdue for him to come on, former NFL player and Super Bowl champ, and my other dear friend, Dave Palladino, celebrity fitness trainer and founder of Impact Zone in New Jersey. Now, Daryl Reed played in the NFL from 2005 to 2010 and won a Super Bowl title with the Colts back in 2007. Today, we're talking about maintaining health and fitness after the NFL, from athlete to active adult, chatting exercising like a pro when you're just a plain old average Joe. Stay tuned for our Millennial Mom segment, chatting about why your blood work says you're normal, but you still feel like something is wrong, with the amazing Jenny Branco, founder of Jenny Branco Wellness. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OGPay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OGPay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out OGPay.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our Millennial Mom segment brought to you by OGPay.com, we're chatting about why your blood work says you're normal, but you still feel like something is wrong. Today, we're featuring Jenny Branco, a registered nurse turned integrative health practitioner and founder of Jenny Branco Wellness. She's a hormone specialist who helps women rebalance their hormones and gut health naturally. It's her absolute passion to empower fellow women to dig deeper into why common symptoms such as extreme fatigue, mood swings, digestive issues, and sluggish metabolism happen in the first place. Through her own battle of frustrating mystery symptoms and labs coming back normal and countless doctors telling her she was fine, Jenny found functional medicine and she was able to rebalance her body. Now, conventional medicine approaches illness as a name it, blame it, and tame it game. But these labels or diagnoses are just names we associate with a collection of symptoms. They have nothing to do with why you have those symptoms, nor identify the root causes of the disease. Conversely, just because your standard lab panel comes back normal doesn't always mean you're experiencing optimum health. Now, we're going to discuss functional medicine and how it seeks to get to the root cause of health issues. We will dive into the world of unconventional and advanced lab testing that Jenny uses to identify dysfunction in the body and optimize health. Right now, in our Millennial Mom segment, we're chatting about a very common complaint. My blood work says I'm normal, but I still feel like something is wrong. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. All right. I love everything you talk about. Let's jump right in. So, my blood work says I'm normal, but I feel like something is wrong. Why do medical lab values and functional lab values drastically differ? We really need clarity here, Jenny, in order to help more people learn how to get well and stay well naturally. Talk to me.
So, traditional medicine, those lab values that you get when your doctor comes into the office and says, everything looks good, you are amazing, you're in all the great health, and you're sitting there like, how can this be? I don't feel well. Those numbers are based on a national average, based on your area of Americans. Now, most Americans, about half, have a chronic illness, are on about 4 pharmaceuticals. Do you really want your health to be considered normal within that population is what you need to think about. It's based on an average. And now traditional medical system, we need that, right? It's life-saving. If I break my leg, if I get diagnosed with cancer, if I have a burn, it's amazing in that sense for an acute problem. But I think there's a real gap that needs to be bridged between emergent I have a disease versus I'm not feeling so great. What can I do to prevent that issue? So, to answer your question, traditional medical labs are based on this average. They're going to tell you if you have a disease or not. If you don't, you're sent on your way. We'll see you next time, maybe until it gets bad enough for us to say, hey, there's a problem. Let's give you a med. And then functional medicine labs, we're looking at your optimal health, a very narrower range. So we want to look at your numbers are creeping up. Maybe you're not feeling so good before you get to that point of disease, and we want to prevent it from getting worse.
It's interesting. So I guess what you're saying is, it's important to understand that lab results are based on, I guess, reference intervals that follow a bell curve, so to speak, distribution, and numbers considered normal fall within the middle, say 95% of that curve. And anything on the outer ends of the spectrum are considered abnormal, right? While anything within the middle of that bell curve is considered normal. So yeah, to your point, these numbers are based on a large sampling of the population, and it doesn't necessarily take into account the age or health status of the individuals who make up that sample population. So your normal lab results simply mean that you fall within the average of a very unhealthy population. I mean, you just hit home with that. That's exactly true. And you don't want to be that norm. You want to be optimal, right? So how do we move forward and fix this problem? What steps can we take?
So, with myself, my own story, I had to really look for someone who could tell me why this was happening. That was the answer that I could not find. And being a registered nurse, I think it frustrated me a little bit more because I was like, I got into this profession to help people, and now I can't even figure out how to help myself. I went to my OB, my PCP, and they're very smart, very intelligent people, but they are constricted to this model of medicine. And all of my blood work came back normal, even though I was feeling awful. And so I just went down this rabbit hole, which at the time I was not happy about, but it got me here. And so I had to look, I just kept looking for, why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why? Ask that question. Keep asking that question. And I eventually got to the concept of functional medicine, which is really this overarching theme of figuring out what is actually causing your symptom in the first place and taking action to reverse that. So working with a functional medicine practitioner in your area or someone, like myself that does it virtually would be my top recommendation for people.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's 2023. And to your point, your healthcare provider should understand the difference between normal and optimal. I mean, we can determine optimal ranges for just about every lab test, and we shouldn't be satisfied with being normal. I say in a population where, to your point, 42% of the population is obese, 34 million people have diabetes, 48% of adults have heart disease, 133 million people have a chronic disease, and 66% of adults use prescription drugs. I mean, yeah, it's time to wake up. This normal is no longer good. So let's go back. So embrace non-traditional labs and start chasing root causes instead of treating symptoms is what you're saying. So if your labs show something that is abnormal or suboptimal, then your doctor should ask why until he can't ask why anymore, to your point. So I say that we must demand for better testing. So tell me, how does one go about this without breaking the bank? Because there's a lot of people out there that just don't have access and that kind of coverage. And they are the very ones that are being told, go home, you're normal, perhaps. So will insurance companies comply? What steps do you recommend somebody takes here?
So there's two different options to accommodate different needs and different stances. So what I would say is the first thing you need to know is that your doctor may not be trained to look at a lab and read it for optimal levels. That's the first thing. Women are always like, well, what do I ask my doctor for? You can ask them for all the labs that you already get, but if they are just looking at it with one lens, which is that within normal range lens, they were not trained to use optimal values. That is something that is taught in functional medicine, as far as I know, only, not in traditional medicine,
No, you're right.
unless your doctor took extra steps, which is just really not the case right now. They're overburdened with, the acute things going on, right? So you really, right from there, like for myself and my clients, sometimes I do a case review, which I will just take your lab work that you got at your doctor's office. We don't even have to run anything special at that point. And I look at it through my optimal lens, using this narrower range. And just from that standard blood work you've had done, I find things on every single client. So
Wow.
someone that knows how to do that can look at it with optimal ranges. It would be step one. And so you don't have to break the bank. You don't have to have more lab tests run. Those are covered by insurance. So just knowing that that's a tool in your toolbox. The second half of that is that you can look into specialty functional medicine labs. This is what has been a game changer for my clients. And these are now going to dig deeper. They're going to show you things that blood work just doesn't show you. So these are things like urine samples, hair samples, a finger stick. They're going to look inside your gut. What's going on in there? Too much bad bacteria, too much yeast. Is that why you have low mood or bloating after everything you eat? They dig deeper. They show us your mineral status. Do you have heavy metals, inflammation? Just go way beyond what the scope of traditional labs can do.
You're hitting close to home because when I was in my early 20s, I had thyroid disease and I ended up having to get a lot of radiation done. And most doctors, for example, I'd go so far as to say the vast majority of doctors only check TSH when analyzing thyroid function. And, we know better. We know that we need a much more comprehensive picture of the thyroid. At the very minimum, we should also be checking T3, T4, reverse T3, thyroid antibodies, and vitamin D when one's evaluating thyroid function. I know this because I lived with this issue for, almost 15 years now. Now, this is just one example, but we can't get a detailed picture of how the body is functioning if we take a myopic approach to lab work. So I love what you're saying. Now, Sure. Back to your point, looking at a comprehensive metabolic panel and figuring out that your liver isn't functioning optimally is important. But to your point, figuring out why your liver isn't functioning optimally is really the only way to truly resolve the problem. And sometimes this requires, and you said it in your last answer, checking for heavy metals, molds, self-infections, and really all these other environmental toxins to checking up there, running a stool sample, right? And really checking for root causes and gut problems such as parasites. This often takes a highly skilled and open-minded individual like yourself, because believe me, there are not many out there willing to think outside the box of conventional Western medicine. I can't emphasize this more. How important is gut health and balanced hormones?
Oh, you're speaking to my soul right now. So a lot of times people, on social, they find me and they say, "So what supplement do I take for gut health? What supplement do I take to get my hormones right?" And of course, I don't expect you to know this when you approach me, but my goodness, when your gut is off, everything else follows suit. So if you came to me and you said, "What is one test that I can only have one, which one should I do?" And you said you had hormonal issues, I would actually have you start with a gut test. And that surprises most people because hormones are a downstream issue. Hormone imbalances, other imbalances happen because something stressed out the body. And that's usually starting in the gut. About 70% of your immune system is in your gut. Your neurotransmitters, those feel good chemical messengers of the brain that are responsible for mood and energy and sleep, they're generated in your gut lining. If your gut is off, you can't digest and absorb the nutrients from your food, no matter how healthy it is. So you could be doing quote unquote all of the right things. If you have mold in your gut, if you have too much toxic yeast, bacterial overgrowth in your gut, your metabolism will be off, your thyroid will be off. You cannot properly convert hormones in your gut. So, short answer here is if your gut is off, literally everything else is going to follow suit. So, that is where I would say you need to start looking to get into that optimal state of health.
You said it. Well, we are out of time. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
That was our Millennial Mom segment brought to you by OGPay.com. And that was the awesome Jenny Branco. Definitely head to her website at jennybranco.com, spelled Branco. Pronounced Bronco, but spelled Branco. And you can also check her out on the gram at Jenny Branco Wellness. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Navé, a members-only travel portal exclusively available through Organo, offering members steep discounts on nightly or weekly hotel stays, cruises, auto rentals, excursions, and so much more. With its travel getaway portal, Navé makes the days of surfing multiple travel sites and spending hours evaluating the best deals done with. That's because with Navé, you are guaranteed the best prices. Plus, to gain access to an even more expansive collection of condos, hotels, cruises, vacation villas, fantasy getaways, and concierge service, there's Forever Weeks. Simply purchase a Navé Forever Weeks package one time and enjoy the benefits many times. With Forever Weeks, forever means forever. Not only does Navé guarantee you the best prices, but it is also one of the few travel portals that pays a referral bonus, in addition to you earning rewards points, which can be redeemed on the Travel Getaway portal for further discounted hotel room rates. Become a member today and navigate the world of travel. Navé, the world for you to experience. For more information, go to nave.travel. That's Navé, Nave.travel.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up in just a few minutes in our influencer segment brought to you by Navé Travel. Today we're joined by Nigerian model John Mgbemena. He's also an actor and a musician, most recently appearing on FBOY Island, a dating show that debuted on HBO Max in 2021. Today, he's here to chat modeling, love, and what it was like being part of the very steamy FBOY Island reality TV show cast. According to TV Insider, FBOY Island was HBO's most watched reality TV show on their streaming service, HBO Max. Season 2, this past summer, that John was in, was even bigger hit. And now rumors are circling about a season 3 potentially, and perhaps even a gender reversal spinoff, F Girl Island. Now, today's most influential male models aren't so much seen and not heard. They're seen, heard, and then some. Rather than simply wearing the latest fashion trends, they're setting them and even designing them, making canny sidesteps into business ventures and turning their God-giving looks into social media clout and real-world capital. I'm a model, you know what I mean, and I do my little turn on the catwalk. Right, said Fred sang, nipples front and center in a black mesh t-shirt in 1991. Now, in more recent years, there's been a seismic shift in attitudes. Not only has male modeling begun to match the status and acclaim female modeling has held, it's also increasingly seen as desirable work, and the emphasis is on work. Now fully considered a legit career, there's also a wider understanding of what being a male model entails. It's a life choice, and one that takes plenty of discipline, days in the gym, eating properly, avoiding the booze before a shoot, and whatnot. It isn't just turning up and taking a nice photo. Contrary to public perception, the necessary qualities are much more ineffable than simply being classically good looking. I mean, yes, you typically need to be tall and have good bone structure, but the dynamic of how to become a male model is always changing, and it no longer ends at being able to outpout Ben Stiller. Joining me now is model and Instagram star John Mgbemena. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Welcome, you guys. I hope you all are doing well. Nigerian model, and I like to speak to you. Let's go.
Let's do it. So, where were you born?
Honestly, I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, Riverdale, Georgia, but my parents are from Nigeria, making me Nigerian. So
making you Nigerian.
I'm
All right.
Nigerian.
So how did you get started in this career?
Honestly, this was a career I was never expecting. Like, I was super smart, super shy, the awkward kid in high school. I was always afraid to present, like get in front of the class, and like many people know my last name is Mgbemena, so many people mess up my name. So that made me even more awkward and shy. But when I went to college, Georgia State University, I was like, let me do something that would be uncomfortable, that would take me on the edge. And my brothers, I have 5 brothers. I'm the middle child. So they went to UGA and they did African Student Association. Me being Nigerian, I was going to participate in. Granted, theirs was skits. Mine was a fashion show. I didn't know mine was a fashion show at Georgia State at the time until they threw me there. I was uncomfortable, took it as a joke. They loved me, did my first ever fashion show, and the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Me just taking a risk and going on the limb.
Well, that's the only way you get somewhere, right? These days. Now, interestingly enough, FBOY Island, for those of you that are listening and watching, is an American dating reality television series which focuses on 3 women trying to identify 24 men as either womenizers, F-boys, or seeking a serious relationship, nice guys. And the series was hosted by Nikki Glasser, and it premiered back in 2021 of the summer on HBO Max. How did you get cast?
Honestly, the cast they slid in my DMs in Instagram. And, you know, if you see my Instagram, the nice physique and everything, and my charismatic personality, I came in spoiler alert, I don't want to spoil it, but I mean, if you haven't watched it, been out for a year, but I came in as a nice guy, meaning like, how I grew up was, I was a nice guy. I played basketball, loved sports, but I was a shy kid, the smart, intelligent kid. So I came as a nice guy into the show, but it was overall a phenomenal experience.
And they found you on Instagram?
They found me on Instagram. They was like, hey,
wow.
Granted, they didn't even tell me what the show was. So it was kind of like outside my comfort zone. But like in the beginning, I took a risk, took a chance, and they approved.
Interesting. You guys have to watch this because FBOY Island is this dating show, right? Sure. But it's also a humorous, very outlandish piece of entertainment.
Yeah.
that poses a serious question to all the men on the show. What would you do for $100,000? I mean, some men don't care about the money. They just want to find true love, right?
Well,
The nice guys. But others are willing to lie, cheat, manipulate their way to the money, even if it means breaking a heart or two or three along the way. So F-Boy Island takes all these men, puts them on an island along with three women looking for love, and lets the rest, the reality magic happen. So your experience there, obviously this catapulted you into some level of stardom, but it did come with a lot of drama. Was it worth the drama?
I could say it was worth the drama. Really, the show that catapulted me was Chris Lee Knows Best. I was one of the swim instructors. I don't know if your audience is familiar with Chris Lee Knows Best.
Yes.
Um,
Chris
I
Lee Knows
was
Best. You were the swim instructor.
the swim instructor, so that went viral, especially on TikTok, and that was back in 2019,
Yeah,
2019.
that was before the pandemic. The more relevant
Yeah,
one
and
was,
then
yeah.
the stuff, but at FBOY Island, yeah, it came with a lot of drama, especially my time, because if you watch the show, you know how I appeared on the show and stuff like that. But it comes with the territory. When you do shows like this, you have to accept the good and you have to accept the bad. As long as it's looking handsome, being myself, and staying true to the type of person that I am, which is a nice guy, a Nigerian nice guy.
I love
It comes
it.
with the territory.
Nigerian nice guy. Now, Mr. Nigerian nice guy, you have 130,000 followers on Instagram. How did you build that following? Was that before the show or after the show?
It was really before the show. I was verified before the show, and it all started with me after my first fashion show. Then at Georgia State University, then translated, started doing Macy's fashion show. Then Miami Swim Week, became a Fashion Nova and brand ambassador. All this was before FBOY Island was published on so many articles, especially when I came out with my album, which was something me personal, which was I Hate It Here. But all of it came before, but it all started with me posting photos. It all really started with me investing in myself. I invested in my craft. I didn't know if I wanted to take modeling serious because I graduated with a biology degree and got into like pharmacy and medical school. So it was a time in my life where I had to make a choice, and a lot came with the choice. Would I be a doctor or would I be a model? And me being Nigerian, they want you to be a doctor. So me choosing to be a model and actress and entertainer and a public figure was a hard choice, and I had to start from the ground up and really invest in myself, trust the process, and believe myself.
And here you are today. All right.
Yes.
So you have come a very long way. Your family is clearly supportive at this point.
Definitely.
You've graduated. You have a great career ahead of you, modeling, acting, doing all your thing in front of the camera. I see you on social media strutting your stuff with your nice clothing and all your swag. Let's do some trivia. Let's get to know you. All right. You answer with only one, answer the question with only one answer, okay? And we'll do it quick. There we go. Favorite job you have booked to date?
Fashion Nova and brand ambassador, yeah.
All right. Favorite clothing brand?
Louis Vuitton.
Blondes or brunettes?
Blondes.
Are you looking for love?
No.
No.
Always looking for love.
Okay. Favorite place in the world?
Dubai.
Top 3 goals?
Make my family proud, make my wife proud, and leave a legacy.
I love it. Astrological sign?
Taurus.
Meat or plant foodie?
Meat.
Favorite cuisine?
Wings and fries. Oh, cuisine? Is that
cuisine? No, that's that's American grub. Okay, wings and fries. Religious or spiritual?
Spiritual.
Soccer or football?
Oh, I love both. I'll go with soccer.
Favorite movie?
I really love X-Men. I'm an X-Men fanatic.
All right. What series are you currently watching?
Euphoria. I mean to stop, but.
And your favorite recording artist or musician?
I'll say Drake. Drake is
Drake.
nice.
You like Drake? Okay. Wait, you said you want to make your wife proud. Are you married?
No. And
Oh, when you get married.
I won't get married. I want to make my wife proud.
You see how I noticed that? I just clarify for the girls listening, he's still an eligible bachelor.
That's it.
All right. Well, listen, any advice to your younger self? Not that you're old, but I mean, if you could go back when you were a teenager, I know you said you were shy. I know you struggled with some stuff. You could still give advice to that portion of yourself. Although you don't owe anything to your younger self, you owe everything to your future self. But what advice would you give?
The advice I'll give to my younger self is always take risks and never stop believing in yourself. Because when you're young, it's kind of like you feel like everything that happens in high school when you're young. Because when I got rejected, I wanted to go to University of Georgia, and I got rejected. I thought my whole life was over. I wanted to play basketball, and that didn't manifest, and I thought my whole life was over. And me taking that risk to do something that was uncomfortable, meaning going to Georgia State University and being offered to be walking on ASA fashion show. I didn't know what it was, but I took a chance on myself because I was like, I don't want to still continue to be that shy kid and that was in Riverdale High School. I want to be more confident and more fulfilling and more like in tune with myself. So I always tell myself, thank you for taking that risk and thank you for believing in yourself. Because if you never took that risk and chose to do modeling or put yourself in this position, you would have never manifested the person that you are today. Because because even when I chose modeling, like I remember after graduating from college, like I got kicked out and I was by myself and I had to find a way and still try to book things as well as be financially stable. So me taking that risk and believing in myself and never, which is a hit song in my album, Never Give Up, is like always.
And you are, on top of all of this, a recording artist. Never give up with a hit single. So we're out of time, but I want to thank you so much for coming on. It was such a pleasure chatting with you.
Always. I enjoyed chatting with you as well.
That was our influencer segment brought to you by Navé Travel, and that was the very entertaining and awesome John Mgbemena. You can definitely head to his Instagram handle at John Mgbemena and definitely make sure you're spelling his last name correctly. It's John Mgbemena. Same thing for Twitter. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Navé, a members-only travel portal exclusively available through Organo, offering members steep discounts on nightly or weekly hotel stays, cruises, auto rentals, excursions, and so much more. With its travel getaway portal, Navé makes the days of surfing multiple travel sites and spending hours evaluating the best deals done with. That's because with Navé, you are guaranteed the best prices. Plus, to gain access to an even more expansive collection of condos, hotels, cruises, vacation villas, fantasy getaways, and concierge service, there's Forever Weeks. Simply purchase a Navé Forever Weeks package one time and enjoy the benefits many times. With Forever Weeks, forever means forever. Not only does Navé guarantee you the best prices, but it is also one of the few travel portals that pays a referral bonus, in addition to you earning rewards points, which can be redeemed on the Travel Getaway portal for further discounted hotel room rates. Become a member today and navigate the world of travel. Navé, the world for you to experience. For more information, go to nave.travel. That's Navé, Nave.travel.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up in just a few minutes, we have our Travel Treasures segment brought to you by Navé Travel. And today we're featuring Jason Fong, also known as the Boss of Bali, who has amassed over 2 million followers on Instagram, connecting celebrities with luxury hotels in Bali. Now, impressively, Jason is also the founding member of the Forbes Club. Today, we're chatting all about Bali and his ultimate Bali travel guide for first-timers. Now, with the ongoing help of Jason, over the past few years, the image and reputation of Bali has been, well, elevated. Bali has many layers to it, and whether you're looking for a spiritual moment to connect with the world of Ubud, appreciating the seclusion of Nusa, Limonbongan, or exploring the bustling gastronomy restaurant scene of Seminayak, Bali is a true awakening of the senses, an island that surely depends on tourism. And in fact, 30% of its population work in the tourism and hospitality industry. Now, of course, over businesses benefiting passively from the constant wave of travelers, there's so much more to Bali than just tourism. And of course, like any amazing destination, Bali's cornerstone is its people. And you will be welcomed and accommodated as a guest. And more importantly, you're going to leave feeling like family. This is what makes Bali a destination of choice against the many options available around the world. Welcoming now to the show is the amazing Jason Fong, the boss of Bali with the ultimate Bali travel guide for first timers. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Hey Zen, lovely to be here.
Absolutely. We're so excited to have you all the way from the other side of the world. Now, talk to me. Bali is a province of Indonesia at the westernmost of the Lesser Sundan Islands, east of Java and west of Lombok. The province includes the island of Bali and a few smaller offshore islands. Of course, Bali, we know, is a treasure trove for travel fanatics. It's one of those unique destinations that you plan to visit for a weekend. Well, you end up wishing it was a one-way trip. Why do you love Bali so much?
Very good question. So I went to Bali 20 years ago on my honeymoon, and I absolutely just fell in love with the place. And after 10 years, I ended up falling into a role that I was working with luxury hotels in Bali. So I was there, breakfast, lunch, dinner meetings back to back, but I was never able to take those beautiful images that you see on Instagram. So I decided, well, why don't I create a page called The Boss of Bali and repost viral content and celebrate the luxury of Bali and inspire people to travel there. So I worked on that and worked on building my brand online, especially on Instagram, and just fell in love with the place. The people are what make Bali, the Hindu culture, and the people are so humble and kind and generous, and it's just it's one of those special places in the world, and that's why it's ranked number 1 or 2 on TripAdvisor year after year. So
Without a doubt, rank number 1 or 2 on TripAdvisor, and you make it look so lucrative. Let me tell you, your posts, I found you on Instagram and I was like, this guy has it going on. I want to go to Bali. I'm a mom, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm excited about seeing the world, and your posts really ignited and evoked emotion in me. Now, the main airline companies flying to Bali are Singapore Airlines and, of course, Cathay Pacific from the United States. And Bali has one international airport allowing people to fly from all over the world. Denpasar, I hope I'm saying this right. You say it. Denpasar. That's right. Rai International Airport is located in the Kuta area in the south of Bali. It's about 20 minutes away driving from Sanur and 1 hour from Ubud. Now, we know that Bali is situated close to the equator, so temperatures stay fairly constant throughout the year. However, Bali does have two distinct seasons, dry and rainy. When is the best time to visit Bali?
the best time then is to visit between May and October. So that's where the weather's sort of around 29 degrees Celsius. So what that in Fahrenheit, I'm not sure because we talk Celsius.
Yeah,
But
I
around
talk Celsius.
29 degrees, blue skies, sunny, warm, amazing. Look, going from October or November to March, April, it's wet season, so you get the rain once a day for half an hour. It pours, but it's still you're in the tropics. You're on an island. You're in Bali. Life's pretty good. So, if you like the humidity, low season's great. If you don't like the humidity, then May to October is perfect.
I love it. I love the humidity only because I just don't want to drench out in sweat. But I like to be able to feel like the actual nature within my bones. Call me weird, but it is true. I love to feel places when they're at their worst times, not at their best times, because now I can assess, do I want to go back? Now, how long should someone from North America plan on going to get the full Bali experience?
Great question. So I have a lot of friends in America who aspire to go to Bali. It's one of those aspirational places because it's a long flight to get there. So I would say you need 2 to 3 weeks to really experience a full Bali, because there's so many different parts to Bali to explore. So there's even parts that I haven't been to yet. It's just so it's just, you can have so many different types of Bali holidays over there. So you can have your luxury cliff top ocean villa overlooking the Indian Ocean, or you can have your mountain retreat, your eat, love, pray type of experience in Ubud, or you can go to Seminyak, Canggu, where all the best restaurants are in Bali, which are world class, mind you. They've got expat chefs building and creating the best food, the best restaurants.
I love it. And now, of course, you mentioned that the hottest month in Bali is May. Of course, you said hovering, 28 Celsius, which, by the way, guys, that's about 82 degrees Fahrenheit. And the coldest month with the most rain is January, averaging about 26 degrees Celsius with about 79 Fahrenheit. Now, you mentioned food. So, cost of food. Now, prices for food and drinks will, of course, vary significantly depending on which area of the island you settle for, plus the type of experience you want. So, food. Let's talk about food. So, in Seminyak and Uluwatu, they tend to have
Seminyak and Uluwatu, yep.
yeah, they tend to have expensive restaurants if you're in the mood to try some world-class Indonesian food. And of course, other areas such as North Bali, you have Ubud and Canggu offer cheaper options. What do you recommend for that ultimate experience with respect to food?
If you want luxury, there's some of the top restaurants are in Canggu and Seminyak. So, like I was saying before, world class chefs opening up these restaurants, and the food is absolutely, the gastronomy is on another level. So, I'd really recommend Seminyak, Canggu for the best dining experiences. The great thing about Bali is you can have your $5 nasi goreng, which is your traditional Balinese dish, down the road at a cafe on the beach at a warung, they call it, or you can have your $80 steak at one of the best steakhouses in the world there. So it's very wide range, so many different cuisines, and that's why I love going to Bali. Every time I go to Bali, every couple of months, it's like, wow, which restaurants are we going to try this time? Because it's every time you go, there's all these incredible new restaurants. So the food side, if you're a foodie, it's amazing.
Sounds very exciting. Now, what would you say are your top 3 destinations in Bali?
Top 3, that's a tough one. I love Seminyak because of the restaurants. The sunsets are incredible. Uluwatu, amazing sunsets as well, and the cliff, being on the cliff with the ocean villas, they're on another level. And Ubud definitely for your eat, love, pray experience with that rainforest jungle retreat.
Amazing. I wouldn't want to leave according to what you're telling me either. Now, how to get around. So, yes or no, hire a private driver in Bali. I've had tons of celebrity friends say to me, you must hire a private driver. You can also, of course, rent a car, but hiring a private driver for about less than $100, US dollars per day for up to 4 people, which is highly recommended since the drivers are familiar with the local roads and, of course, traffic laws. What do you say, yay or nay?
100% get a private driver, or contact me. I can give you my private driver if you like when you come next time. They're like no more than 100 a day, and definitely recommend it because they can take you to all the best spots in Bali. And having that local knowledge wherever you go overseas, it saves you a lot of time, a lot of money as well. So it's very useful to have a private driver to take you around, and there's so many of them, and they're amazing. So they've got all that local knowledge that you need.
Good, good. Yeah, and they're highly recommended. And of course, they're the local roads and the traffic laws. That's important to keep in mind. So you definitely want to be padded on that front. Now, best kept secret in Bali, what would that be?
Best kept secret? Oh, geez, that's a great question. It really depends on the type of holiday you're after. I really think the temples in Bali and the culture is what makes Bali, and that is when you experience that and understand the culture, um, that's the X factor of Bali that other countries don't have. So um, call it a hidden gem. That's what's really special to me about Bali.
The
Um,
sacred temples. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Now, is this a kid-friendly place?
yeah, absolutely. So there's resorts there that are kid kid friendly, water slides, water parks. They've got the number three water park in the world, in Bali. So definitely kid friendly. Lots of families going there. So that's the great thing about Bali. You can have your family holiday, or you can have a couple's holiday and stay in a private villa,
And
pool
just be
villa.
all sexy and romantic. I love it. Kids or
Exactly.
sex and romance. Now,
You get to choose. So,
what you get to choose. Now, what to wear. Okay, so this is important to me. Thoughts of taking a dip in the beautiful turquoise waters in Bali might, of course, conjure up images of short, revealing, sexy attire. However, the locals dress quite conservatively, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be wise if you do the same, especially when you're away from the beach. So be sure to wear knee-length clothes and cover your shoulders when visiting sacred places such as the temples. Consider packing hemp clothing. Of course, it's an amazing travel textile that regulates temperature. I say so. But what are your thoughts here? Do you go full-blown Miami, LA, New York City there, or like do you kind of tame it down?
yeah, you can. There's no problem. You can do that. Look, going to a temple in a bikini and in a probably is not the best idea.
No.
However, I have seen some influencers do that, but I wouldn't recommend that. But yeah, anything that you wear in summertime is perfect.
Amazing. Now, we also know that social media, in your particular case, plays a huge role, of course, in your mission. With well over a million followers on Instagram, you have an ever expanding audience that is asking to be inspired to visit Bali over and over again. And, of course, your page's highly intriguing content is created with your clients in mind. Social media stars, professional video creators, travel bloggers. I mean, each post you give gives more reason to make me want to pack my bags and make my own experience with Bali. But the unique places that you feature, the pro touristic culture, the lifestyles, the culinary art, of course, all of this makes want to visit. At the end of the day, if you can give anybody any advice about traveling to Bali, what would it be?
Great question. Great question. Um, oh, geez. Oh, there's
Take your
so
time.
many, so,
Take your
so
time.
much advice. Um, I would just say, yeah, get the local. If you can get the local knowledge down pat, or find someone with local knowledge, that will make your trip 10 times better. I love bringing people to Bali for the first time or educating them about Bali, because you can go to so many places around the world and go in blind and go, I'll do this or do that without knowing. And you could have a bad experience and then you walk away from that saying, oh, I don't want to go there again because of this. So I think if you do it the right way and you get the right advice, that will make your trip so much better, and you will just keep on coming back to Bali like year after year. So
You have me
the advice
convinced.
is getting some advice.
You definitely have me convinced. The advice coming from the boss of Bali has me wanting to go to Bali, and I'm gonna definitely make it a destination on my bucket list because, of course, with this much endorsement, this much beauty, this much luxury, and this much opportunity, I feel like I definitely have to see this place in the world. So, thank you so much for coming on and inspiring me.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me, and look forward to having you in Bali and collaborating with you, and having your whole family there.
Absolutely. I'm going to take you up on that offer. Guys, you definitely have to check out the boss of Bali. This is absolutely remarkable. Jason Fong has it down packed. He's also known as the boss of Bali. So if you're going to head to social media or the gram, you've got to check him out and check out his amazing page with all the curated content of Bali at the boss of Bali. That was our travel treasure segment brought to you by Navé Travel. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. Now remember, traveling promotes activity that in turn produces mood-boosting endorphins. Traveling reduces long-term stress and anxiety. I need it in my life, and so do you. Taking annual trips helps reduce the risk of heart disease. That is a fact. Go ahead and Google it. So make sure you are trying to book your next travel treasure and make sure Bali is at the top of your list. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
Hi, this is Kathy Ireland here on A Moment of Zen, brought to you by Your Home TV. We've developed an all-inclusive subscription-free network that you're going to love, whether it's financial freedom, fashion, beauty, health and wellness, wonderful weddings, travel and culture, cooking, entertainment, and short-form documentaries, programming for everyone. Classic films and new shows, including Kathy Ireland Presents American Dreams. We've developed this network just for you. Please check out yourhometv.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our Healthy Minutes segment, brought to you by Caldwell Soames, today we're featuring Daryl Reed, former NFL player, and Dave Palladino, celebrity fitness trainer and founder of Impact Zone in New Jersey. Daryl Reed played in the NFL from 2005 to 2010 and won a Super Bowl title with the Indianapolis Colts in 2007. In February of 2009, he signed a 3-year, $10 million contract with the Denver Broncos. Now, Impact Zone is a full-service fitness and sports performance facility in New Jersey, home to many athletes and VIPs, both men and women, seeking body reform. Dave has trained professional athletes and celebrities like New York Yankees pitcher CeCe Sabathia, NFL players Chris Canty, Jay Bromley, Carrie Wynn, as well as recording artist Don Omar, and more popularly known for Action Bronson's total body transformation. Today, we're chatting all about maintaining health and fitness after the NFL, from athlete to active adult. Even if you're a former college athlete and had nothing to do with the NFL and no longer feeling the intensity of competition, you have to learn new ways to exercise and stay fit. Experts say the biggest hurdle is often a mental one. You have to reassess your workouts with new goals in mind, from sports performance to your overall fitness. What makes people strong athletes doesn't always serve their long-term well-being. Here to chat exercising like a pro when you're just a plain old average Joe are my friends at hand, Dave Palladino and Daryl Reed. Welcome to the show, superstars.
Thank you for having me. What's up, Dave? What's going on?
All right, Dave, I'm going to start with you. Welcome back to the show. This is your second time on. You are our fitness expert at hand, and I'm so happy to chat with you today.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
You got it. So, Dave, real life doesn't mimic the off-season, preseason, in-season, and postseason rhythm of athletics. A long-term exercise plan should be reasonable. And exercise is as much physiological stress on your body as heat, humidity, and cold. It's difficult to maintain high levels of physical performance all the time. What type of intensity do you recommend for long-term fitness?
Long-term fitness is it varies with the individual and their goal. Number one, after an athlete retires, let's say, like Chris Canty would always say to me, I have to. He's on TV. He's on a talk show, ESPN, and he would say, "All show. I need to be all show, no go now." So maintaining a healthy lifestyle, maintaining a healthy diet, which is more important, and dedication. If you don't have any dedication, if you're not getting up, you're not getting to the gym, you're not going to get that accomplished. You don't have to push 500 pounds on a sled anymore. You don't have to squat 500 pounds, bench press 225 at a combine for 40. You don't have to do any of that anymore. You know, you don't need that to be generally in shape and you know, achieve a better quality of life through fitness. You just have to get there, do your cardio, eat your food, and, you know, maintain a normal, regular fitness program.
Consistency and being realistic is pretty much key here. I couldn't agree more. And it really just starts with making sure that you're changing your habits to serve your long-term needs, not just your immediate needs as per when you're an athlete at your highest performance. So yeah, exactly. I echo your sentiment. D Reed, welcome, brother. You've been out of the game for over a decade, but welcome back.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Now, when improving your athletic performance was no longer your primary motivation for exercise, it must have been crucial for you to find another motivator to give you a reason to continue training or not, perhaps. I'm curious to know if you looked for something outside of sports, outside of the performance that you endured of consistent exercise for almost a decade. Did you find a hobby, an activity, or did you somewhat keep your training routine?
Well, I think it's hard to keep your training routine, especially like at the NFL level. You're training like very hard, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like Dave said, you have to maintain a high level because that's what you're used to, but it doesn't need to be as hard on your body or as hard on your muscles. But, most athletes are competitive. So if you can get them in a competitive setting, maybe training with some other athletes or celebrities like Dave does, at his gym, I think that brings out the best in everyone.
Oh, that's so true. Community is key and motivation. And Dave and his wife are amazing. They're the best cheerleaders and motivators around for anyone in the gym. Now, Dave, exercising for health and wellness after a professional career can easily fit into a working lifestyle. I say a moderate fitness, regimen takes just 1 hour, 3 to 5 times a week. Does exercise have to be done perfectly to be effective? And what aspects of fitness should your workouts include?
So, like you just said, you don't have to rigorously train anymore. As long as you're getting up and you're getting to the gym or you're doing anything, a walk outside, bike ride, rock climbing, whatever it is, whatever you're into, as long as you're getting up and you have the discipline to get up and do something every single day. Because the alternative is what? Sitting on the couch and eating garbage food and that's not good for anybody. You want to be physically active. So if you get to the gym and you have somebody show you, a workout program that is tailored to your specific goals, maybe weight loss, more flexibility. You could be a dancer. It doesn't matter what you do. So as long as you get to the building and you get on a piece of cardio, let's say 3-4 times a day, and you walk, you could just walk 3.5, walk 2 miles, something is always better than nothing at all.
Yeah, sedentary lifestyle, we know, just does no good for anyone. You're going down a deep dark hole. So what I love about you is that my husband works out with you, almost every day. And I love that you incorporate cardiovascular exercise, resistance and strength training, flexibility and stretching, and balance and agility training. He gets that almost every day with you. And I love that you spread it out like that and it's realistic on him and his body. Now, D, athletes become athletes because of the joy they find in sports and activity. And while exercise improves mental health by reducing anxiety and depression and negative moods, not all players continue to hit the gym. Mental health disorders are a very real thing, getting in the way of motivation. And for many athletes, retirement can be sudden and unplanned, leading to higher rates of mental health and substance abuse issues. It's more often the case that athletes are forced out of competition because of injury, like in your case. What did you struggle with the most in keeping yourself healthy and fit after retirement?
Initially when my career ended, I had a career-ending knee injury, and I had surgery. I had 2 surgeries, actually, like a year apart. And for me, maybe it was a little bit easier to accept it because I had already won a Super Bowl. I had already achieved something great, and I was okay with walking away from the game. I had a pension and things like that. But I still went through a bout of depression, for maybe like a year or maybe even 2 years. I went through a bout of depression, and it wasn't even that I was trying to necessarily get back into the game or anything like that. It was just the transition, and what I did is I went back to what I know. I went back to training, right? I went back to coaching. I went back to, giving back to the youth and using all these skills that I had learned over my lifetime playing this great game. and giving that back to other people. And in doing so, I was able to basically find myself. And then, you get into the use it or lose it phase where, I mean, either I'm going to use these things mentally and physically, or I'm going to lose these things that, I've worked, all my life to get.
So important. And the balance of paying it forward, it just feeds the soul. I mean, who doesn't want to give back, and who doesn't want to share their experience and even share their failures to a certain extent so others can learn from it. So I love that you're doing that, and you've taken control of your life, and you're finally at an amazing place. I see you like a brother. I've known you forever, so I'm happy for you. Dave, let's chat exercise as a tool against depression, feeding into everything that D is talking about. So some of the strongest evidence for the mental benefits of exercise centers on depression, and exercise buffs up the brain as well as the body. Physical exercise triggers the release of a protein known as brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. And BDNF is one of the key molecules that encourage the growth of new brain cells, including possibly in the hippocampus, a brain region important in memory and learning. And since the hippocampus tends to be smaller or distorted in people with depression, anxiety, and schizophrenia, boosting BDNF through exercise may be one physical activity away from managing these conditions, so to speak. Now, you work with athletes all day long. Do they report feeling happier and more balanced after their workout routine? And what is Impact Zone's success rate in the fight against mental health disorder? Because I know you got one.
So the first part of the question is, anybody who comes and works out after the workout, after any workout, is going to feel good. They put their work in and they're done. They sweated a little bit and they achieve a couple of goals, maybe hit a couple of personal bests that they were shooting for. So that's going to feel good. That's going to give them a good feeling and a drive to come the next day. And working out is a mental and physical development. It's very important. As for the mental health aspect of it, it's coming to Impact Zone or any other gym or going to do a workout. It serves as a purpose. You're going somewhere, and it serves as a purpose to do something and accomplish something. And that's really important, because otherwise they're sitting on the couch and they're thinking about what was, what could have been, what was me, especially when athletes retire or have a season-ending injury. They might possibly had a couple more years left, and now it's the lights and the cameras and the cheers came to an end. They're still highly, like you said, highly competitive. They need to come and do something, and getting their butts to the gym and putting it in work around their peers and other athletes is very, very essential to their mental health.
Yeah, but you have this environment that is unlike any other. You don't just get that at any gym. You and Cheryl have created a home and a community, and you are motivators and cheerleaders. And when somebody's feeling down, sure, they could go to the gym and they could start a wall and they could lift weights and they could go home, or they could come to a place that's a little bit more enthusiastic because you take pride in the way that you treat your customers. But more importantly, you are dealing with a massive amount of hormonal energy in those rooms. I mean, you have a lot of testosterone there. You got people that are competitive, and you do a really good job at keeping them all on that same level. So good job, because look, when you feel like crap after exercise, you're not going to want to do it again, because the brain tags the activity as something unpleasant. And it's far better to quit while you still have a positive feeling from the workout and not being pushed to the extreme limit, because without even realizing it, our brain tends to tag the activity as something more pleasurable when we don't dread it. So I feel like knowing when to stop is just as much key. D, what advice do you have to your younger self?
What advice? I was going to touch on so many things just now, but so before I answer that, what advice do I have to my younger self? I just want to touch on this, and this speaks to like Dave and the setup of his gym and how he has it set up and how he sets up the groups. It's also a social aspect to it, like shooting with the fellas. Like, there is, certain groups that work out better together, and Dave obviously has done a good job of pairing and matching those groups up. I know he's got the morning group, the early morning group, guys that come in the early morning. I know he's got the Jim Jones group, the hip hop, the rapper. They all come in and work out together. And that's a little bit later in the afternoon because they're in the studio all night. But he's been able to pair these groups up. And that's just a couple that I know. But I'm sure throughout the day, that's how he has them paired up in groups that can push each other, that they're aligned with each other, their lives or whatever it may be, their families, maybe the activities of their kids. And then they're pushing each other through the workout and they're talking shit and they're, working out and pushing each other. I mean, Brad, his progress has been amazing, but it's partly because of the group he's with, right? He's got
100%.
Talking crazy to him, and you're talking about movies and all kinds of stuff at the same time. And so, Dave's done a great job of, pairing those groups up. And to answer your other question, what would I tell my younger self?
Yeah.
Slow down off the field. Focus on the field and, really, really focus on, the gifts that you've been granted and slow down my life off the field. I was just crazy.
You're too fast. Oh yeah.
My life was just
drive like a maniac too. I know that. Dave, do you want to pipe in here? Closing thoughts.
So touch back on what Dee said. It is a social atmosphere here. So people do come to see their friends, to talk, camaraderie, train with each other, and each individual inspires other individuals, push each other a little harder. One of your boys are doing something and, you got to push it in that extra rep or two to get there. So it's a very good community-based place here that we've built. And it actually accommodates anybody from the professional athlete all the way down to a senior citizen. So the place is fully equipped. Come on down, come and check us out. And D, you better get your butt in there, man.
Yes. I'm overdue. Overdue. I gotta come for both sessions too. I gotta come in the morning session, then I gotta come hang out at night.
All right. Well, I'm glad it's a love affair over here at stupid.com. Thank you for listening. We have made another gym with a pro athlete. There you go. Guys, it was a pleasure chatting with you. We are out of time. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
for having me again.
Guys, exercise, they are learning, has profound effects on brain structure itself. It also provides other more subtle benefits such as focus, a sense of accomplishment, and sometimes social stimulation, like we just talked about, all of which are therapeutic in their own right. And while more is generally better, even modest levels of physical activity, such as a daily walk, like Dave said, can pay big dividends for mental health. It's a very potent intervention to be physically active. So get out there and get moving and off your couch. That was our Healthy Minutes segment brought to you by Caldwell Soames. Definitely check out Dave Palladino on the gram at Dave P Fit, or you could head to impactzonenj.com, or you could head to their social media page at impactzonenj. You can also follow Daryl Reed at Daryl Reed, RRL, or you can also check out the Hemp Professors, THP Medical, and of course, head to his website, pointconsults.com. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Animoca Brands. As a worldwide industry leader in digital entertainment, blockchain, and digital property rights, Animoca Brands plays a key role in the future growth of the open metaverse. During unstable times like these in burgeoning industries similar to blockchain, it's important to realize that blockchain can and will survive and eventually flourish, and industry-leading companies like Animoca Brands will guide the transformation into the future. Animoca Brands will keep building a better and fairer Web3 ecosystem, create impact for better, and bring true digital property rights to all internet users through NFTs and the open metaverse. For more information and to become part of the excitement, go to animocabrands.com. That's animocabrands.com.
Well, that's a wrap, my dear friends. Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. Or you could head to 710WOR.iHeart.com a moment of Zen. Also, remember that we're now live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, YouTube Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern, and of course, all episodes of A Moment of Zen are now available on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV streaming platform. For that, you could head to mox.yourhometv.com. Totally free programming, streaming 24/7. Thank you for listening to A Moment of Zen. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors that continue to make this show possible. And remember that happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it.